clarify what Heather said. I really would like everybody to kind of get involved. So I don't want to hear myself talk for 50 minutes. I'd rather you ask questions or chime in or whatever you'd like to say. A little background real quick. I have this is my 36th plus year of teaching. I spent the first 7 at the elementary school level and the past 30, almost 30 at the high school level. So hopefully the stuff that I say will resonate with you. There's going to be some stories. There'll be a lot of tips. And again, just please get involved. If there's something I say you don't agree with, feel free to chime in. If it's something that really resonates, give a thumbs up or say something. And again, if you have any questions, my contact information will be at the end. So there's my cover. I'm an author, power lifter, so a whole bunch of different things. So here we go. Okay, so here's kind of the objectives for today's session. So personally, I'm a huge fan of kind of reflecting on our practice. I really think that's critical, whether you are somebody new to the field, somebody a veteran, or somebody in the middle. I really believe we should all be doing that. We should be doing it a lot. It really will help us. This is all about renewing our energy. So Heather and I were just talking. We were saying like the school year is coming to a close, and this is a tough month. Like we're in almost in April. We got a long time before break. So it's really important to kind of renew our energies and stay focused. And something I also think is just recognize our strengths. And you'll hear me talk about that as we go, but it is really, really important to recognize all the great things we do. So like I said, if you have a question, a comment, anything at all, just please let me know and chime in. Okay, so everybody, I want you to do me a favor and just close your eyes. So I'm going to close mine. Close your eyes. Take a second and think of a few things or one thing that you love about your job. It can be anything. And then if you want to share or you have something, feel free to chime in. So for me, I put a list of things below. Okay. And I always say when I do a lot of PD with people, some people are kind of afraid to say like summertime, which I always laugh at. Like, I can't wait for summer. I'm going to be excited for summertime. So it's okay to kind of, hey, say like, I'm excited for summer, that's great. And then of course, all the other things that we have, there's just so many of them. Content, teach, you see the kids at the bottom. And now this is a tricky one real quick. I put, you see the little money sign at the bottom. So that's a tricky one. I think that really depends on your perspective of things. Some people that's a big yay, some people that's a nay, and somewhere it's kind of in the middle. So I think that's going to really vary from person to person. But I do believe it's so critical for us to really kind of think about the things that we love about our job. Me personally, I really love the wellness piece, and you'll see me talking about that. I love working with kids, doing it a long time. And also just that idea of making a difference. I mean, if you take a second and think about it, okay, our jobs are challenging, but I am telling you, whether you are in college, first year, 10th year, 36 like me, you're making a difference. It's not always easy to remember that. Sometimes it can be hard to remember that happening when there's so much stuff around us, but that is critical to keep in your mind that you are making a difference no matter what. So it's just a way to get you kind of started. And again, if you have any comments or something like that, feel free. Heather will chime in and just kind of add to it. Okay, so here is the first number tip. Okay, and it's the good over the bad. And I'm not going to read it to you. You can kind of see what it says. Just take a second to think about it. So when I think about when I first started teaching, okay, the things that I had to deal with, it was so difficult to think about the good over the bad. It was actually really, really hard because there were so many things going on around me. And it took me a while to do that. And obviously now, after all these years, it's gotten, of course, much easier. But I do think that being able to step back and think about the good. So as you're watching this, just take a second right now, and I'll give you a second to think about it. Think about something that is good about your job, that you love about your job. And again, feel free to put in the chat box or chime in. Or if you want to say something, feel free to say something. Think about something that you really love about your job. Okay. And hopefully it's more than one thing. Hopefully it's a bunch of things. But my message to you is we can't let one thing outweigh the good. And I'll give you a very, very quick situation. Where I teach right now, we have an administrative change. It's gone well, but there's definitely some new things going on. And I hear teachers, even today, I was in a faculty meeting, and listening to teachers talk about, just a variety of things that were kind of negative. But there were also some really positive things that I didn't hear people saying. So it is critical for all of you to kind of just do your best. For the tip one is to think about the good things that you have going on. I'm not saying don't recognize the bad. That would be totally foolish and it's unrealistic, and we're never going to do that. But if you can recognize the good and not let the bad outweigh it, that will be really, really helpful in my opinion. Okay? So I hope that makes sense. I hope that resonates with you. Okay, so this is the first story. This is a classic one. Okay, so when I first started teaching, I was teaching in New Jersey, and I had told this story to Heather, and it's crazy, but it's true. So it's called The Tiny Lunchroom with Barbara Primus. Okay, so when I first started teaching, I was 23. And the lunchroom at my school where I was at was a very, very tiny lunchroom. And I say tiny, I mean, it wasn't even a lunchroom. It was a small, like 10 by 10 room. And there was a table with chairs, and there was a sofa. Now, again, everybody, just think for a second. I was like 22, 23 at the time. I was really young. I didn't really know anything, and I just got my job. So whenever I came in the lunchroom to eat lunch, there would be about 7 or 8 other teachers. And guess what? Every single thing out of their mouth was the complaint. This student and this parent and, our principal, and it was always complaints. And I was like sitting there like this because I was young. I didn't want to rock the boat because it's my job. But I was like, oh my God, is it really this bad? Like, what is going on here? And of course, for me, I was like thankful to have a job, and it really wasn't bad, but I was just listening to them. So there was a lady her name was Barbara Primus, and she was very prim and proper. She'd always dress a certain way, and you had to always call her Mrs. Primus. So she was kind of the head of this group. So at the end of the first year, I'm back from my second year, and I'll never forget, the school year started. We're in the lunchroom again, and I started to pretend to sleep. So it's great. So all the people in the lunchroom, they would look at me and they would be like, Craig, what are you doing? And I would be like, so finally, Barbara Primus, she says, Mr. Shapiro, what do you think about all this stuff? I kind of sat up, and I can't believe I had the guts to say it, but you got to think about the room. So I said, well, Barbara, it'd be nice if one time you and the rest of the people here would say something positive about our school, our kids, our staff. And everybody looked at me. It was like dead silent. And she's like, excuse me, Mr. Shapiro? I said, yes, Barbara. You heard me. And she goes, did you call me Barbara? I said, yes, Barbara. My name's Craig. And you could have heard a pin drop. And it was kind of like an eye opener for all the people there, because this is such an important message. So I hope you get it. They were so used to every day hearing the same message over and over and over again that it got ingrained in them. They just kind of like lived it. And I kind of shook them out of that one thing. And of course, initially, it was a little bit, honestly, it was a little bit scary for me because I was 23. These are veteran teachers. There was nobody young. It was all veterans. I mean, not everybody had 30 years, but they're mostly veterans. And they kind of all looked at me and I was like, I don't care because I can't come here every day and hear this. So it's just a really important message and and actually Mrs. Primus and myself ended up becoming good friends because, it was just kind of something I was just speaking the truth. So this is kind of the thing here. It's tip number 2. I am sure that the veteran teachers here are going to be it's going to resonate with you. For the newbies here, okay, please, whatever you do, realize that there's always going to be somebody, maybe it's you, I hope not, but maybe it is, there's always going to be somebody complaining about something, always. And guess what? Before you say it's not you, I've done it. We've all done it at times. We've all said something that, oh my God, I can't believe this. And I'm not talking about that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not talking about you being upset at something. And I'm not talking about you being a good listener. That you should be a good listener. What I'm talking about is being surrounded by that negative lunchroom. Because if you are, it is going to be so toxic. And I know for a fact that there's people in here that have been involved in that. And I am encouraging you in the strongest possible terms. Avoid it at all costs. You're not going to be able to stop everything. It's just impossible. You're not going to be able to do that. I mean, especially if you're at a bigger school, like the school I teach at, I'm with 140 faculty, 140 teachers. It's always there. But for me, and this is something I just kind of thought about, and maybe it will help you. I'm a very positive. I'm a very positive teacher. That's kind of my thing. Obviously, I'm doing this, so it kind of makes sense. But I'm a positive teacher, and something that I say often is, your positivity is going to help other people be positive. Is it going to help everybody? Of course not. That's just not realistic. But it will help some of the people. And I'll go back to the lunchroom with Barbara. I definitely connected with some of these people who didn't know me before that. So please avoid that negative lunchroom. Avoid it at all costs. So at this point, we have a couple slides. Does anybody have any questions, comments, something that you want me to answer, anything at all? And again, you don't have to do that. I'm not forcing you. It's just something to kind of get you involved. So if you have something to say, you can unmute, you can put something in the chat box. I'm not sure if I see there's a couple comments, but I don't want to multitask. So Heather, if you see anything, you could just chime in.
Yeah, I just, people responded to what they like about their job.
What did they say?
So a lot of them is seeing the students succeed seems to be a very common one. We have working with coworkers, the students' excitement for PE, professionals in the field that provide time for professional growth, and enjoy watching the students take ownership as they grow and show accountability in their lives.
So I'd like everybody, thank you, Heather. I'd
Mhm.
like everybody to take a second and think about what you just said and what Heather just mentioned, okay? So, how much kids love PE, their colleagues, and taking ownership of their learning. You don't have to answer this, but I'd like you to think about it. How often do you think about that? So how often do you think about what you just typed in the chat box? Because guess what? You should be thinking about that all of the time. That is critical. When I hear people say, I love how kids love PE. Well, they should love PE. That's our jobs. We should like working with our colleagues. We should want kids to take ownership in their own wellness. That's so vital for long-term success. It actually ties right in to this one right here, to this number 3, this tip number 3. It aligns with it perfectly, and that is knowing your why. So, it seems simple, right? But it really matters. So again, I'm going to ask you, if you're comfortable, put in the chat box, or you can chime in if you like, what your why is. So why are you a health and physical education teacher? Or why are you trying to become a health and physical education teacher? Even why are you here? Those things are critical. I mean, you see my why. I have been in the wellness field, besides just teaching and coaching. I've been involved in wellness since I've been a kid, both athletically. Even now, I'm a power lifter. To me, I love the idea of giving wellness to students. And guess what? When you do that, whatever your why is, kids are going to know it. It's going to be so critical for them. If they know your why, then they will tell you what their why is. And a lot of times I will ask kids, hey, everybody, why did you take our strength training class? And initially, kids will kind of look at me like, Shap, what? And I'll ask them, like, why did you take the class? And they're like, well, we knew you were teaching it, or we knew we could get strong here. And getting them thinking about that why is critical. So knowing your why and them knowing their why is really, really helpful for just kind of figuring out what your purpose is. So again, if you know your why, feel free to put it in the chat box, chime in. Like I said, whatever you feel comfortable is fine. I see some people chiming in. Is there anything there, Head?
Yeah, we got a few here. We have to give students, okay, here. To share my love of physical activity and inspire students to find their love of movement. To give students a positive relationship with wellness that will make them want to engage outside of school. I want to be a health and PE teacher because it allows me to share my passion for physical activity and healthy living with others, inspiring them to embrace movement and well-being while also using my previous athletic experience to effectively teach and motivate students. I love watching students succeed and grow in the physical aspect of learning. I am passionate to teach students the importance of being physically and mentally fit. I want to empower my students to build confidence through movement and fitness. There's like a lot more coming as I'm
Yeah,
reading.
it's great.
Our careers are so much more than just being physically active in a gym.
Oh, whoever the person is who said that. Oh, I love that. I'm a gym rat and I love that. And again, you keep going ahead. If there's something else.
My why is that I want to make a difference in the lives of many students and kids to help them grow into functional and good people and to be that happiness and hope to those who, whoops, it went away. Hold on. Uh, to those who have less fortunate lives than currently. I love staying active and want to inspire students to develop lifelong healthy habits, to promote healthy lifestyle for students, to be a support system for students and show them that fitness can be an outlet for so many things, that they have a safe place to learn and giving them the content they need to be well for a lifetime, and to share my journey and to help students find the best way to help my students to lead their best life and collective impact to promote physical activity through sports, strength and conditioning, and the love of movement.
Okay, so first of all, so everybody who posted, first of all, thank you for posting and keep doing it. Head, thank you. Keep doing it. Keep putting your stuff out there. So I want you to take a second and think about all the stuff that you said, right? I mean, there's just too many. I can't remember all of them. But think about everything that you said, right? And I will say right to everybody here, I am biased. Okay, I'll say it again. I'm biased. I believe that being a health and physical education teacher is the most important teaching position in our schools. Yeah, I am one, and I have been one for 36 years. But take a second and think about all the things you can do as a health and physical education teacher. I was teaching my strength training class today, and kids were walking around asking me questions. And I was thinking about all the conversations I was having with kids. And I'm not going to say you can't have them in a classroom, because I think it is possible, but our jobs, because of what they are, because of our activity level, because we are moving, it gives us so many chances to see kids and talk to kids at a different level that other teachers, they can do it, but it's not as easily done as what we can do. And I really hope that that connects with your why like somebody said something like being good citizens. That is one of the best things about our job is we can connect with students on such personal levels. Like I will tell you right today, I had a kid was like, I had kids bench pressing, and as kids were resting, taking a break with their partner, I was talking to them. How's everything going? Everybody all right? And one of the girls in my class was like, Shap, I'm doing great and I'm getting stronger. And I'm like, okay, I'm proud of you. Are you going to keep doing this when you're done? She goes, oh my God, I'm hooked. And that is kind of the message that I would say to you is our why that we have. It transcends just the hour or hour and a half or 45 minutes we are with our kids. It goes way beyond that. It can lead to lasting changes in overall wellness. So whatever your why is, please make sure your kids know it and make sure you say it. Like there's nothing wrong with saying to kids, my why is because I love seeing kids smile. So awesome comments in the chat. Keep it up. I love it. Keep going. Here we go. Okay. So here you go. This is super important. So this is more for our new teachers, but I think our veterans will resonate with you. True story. It's the same. So this is the same school with the lunchroom. Okay. So very quickly, I'll go through this quick because of time. It's my second day of school. I had no gym. All we had is a blacktop in the back of our school. That blacktop, it's kind of hard to explain, but the bottom line is it was just an area behind the school. So I have a second grade class. I'm taking them out. This is the first time I've seen them. I had never seen them before. We go out back. We got jump ropes going. It's a second grade class. They're having a blast. So I had told the kids to call me Mr. S because they're not going to say Shapiro. So things are going great. Everything's going well. All of a sudden, little boy puts his hand up. He says, Mr. S, the trash truck. I'm like, what, Eric? He's like, the trash truck. All of a sudden, I turn around and there was a trash truck coming right through my teaching area. It came off the street and made a turn, and it's now coming right through where I'm teaching at. And now, again, 23 years old, I'm standing there staring at the trash truck. The trash truck comes by. There's juices falling off the end of the trash truck. The kids are going, oh my God, the smell. And of course, I'm in shock. I'm in shock. I can't believe what's happening. So all of a sudden, the trash truck leaves and the kid's like, oh my God, Mr. S. I'm like, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. You'll be okay. So we get him going again. And literally within 2 minutes, Eric puts his hand up. He's like, Mr. S, it's raining. I had to bring all of the kids into the hallway of the school. So I had no gym. They're in this tiny little hallway. They're soaking wet. Teachers are coming out of their classrooms. What's going on? And the principal, who I'd met once, he was an old Marine. He's coming down the hall. Mr. Shapiro, what's going on here? That was my first day of teaching there. That was my first experience there. The other one, which is a little scarier, when I first started teaching, I was substitute teaching. And I'll never forget one of the first times I came to this school. And it's depressing, but I think it's important to say it. The first time I was there, I went in through the fence, and on the ground where the school was, there was a bunch of drug needles. So I know that's sad, but there's a point to it. Your job, whether you are new or old, is going to throw you curveballs. It's going to be. It's going to happen. If it hasn't happened, it will happen. And be prepared for it. So when I say here, learn how to hit them or wait for a better pitch, that simply means you're going to have to deal with the curveballs. There's going to be stuff happening, some small, some easily hit, some not easily hit. You better wait for another one because they're going to vary. Some are going to be very, very severe and some are not. But if you cannot learn to hit those curveballs or wait for a better pitch. They're going to be constantly coming at you. So if you'd like to share something like an experience or something that you had happen in your life, I know that's kind of a little bit lengthy, but you're more than welcome to share something, say something, unmute, whatever it is, because I do think, especially our veterans that are here, that if you have something you want to share that may resonate with people, feel free to say it, because that is something that we all deal with. All of us, no matter where we're at, no matter how long we're teaching, no matter how great everything seems, we are going to have to deal with that. Okay. So I hope that resonates, because I think it's really important. Okay. Tip number 4. So what I'm kind of saying here is this. Okay. It says lead in your own way. Please put this in the chat box if you can. So I'm going to ask you a question. How many of you are leaders in your school? So if you think you are, just throw a thumbs up, a yes. Okay. And I'll give it a chance to kind of, to see what pops up. So if you think you are a leader in your school, throw it in the chat box, put a yes, a thumbs up, whatever you like. Okay. And then I'll give you like 10 seconds, 15 seconds, and then I'll kind of chime in. So I see them popping up. I can see the chat box. I see a couple people already chime. So keep going. So just keep throwing in. There's another one coming in. Just keep coming in. Keep throwing them in. I'll give you like another 10 seconds. Doing great. Thank you, everybody. Great stuff. Great stuff. So as you're throwing your comments in, what do you see in their head? Just a thumbs up, yes?
So yeah, lots of yeses and thumbs ups.
So here's the thing, everybody. You're all leaders. Okay. Okay, you're probably thinking, oh my God, what is this guy doing? You are all leaders. We are all leaders in our own way. So I had my first leadership position at 24 at the school where this lunchroom was, where I had all the trash truck. I was a leader of a committee there, and it was scary. It was scary. I was 24. I like literally a few years of teaching under my belt. That was it. But guess what? It allowed me to take some really important risks. Okay. And for whatever you hear, I've been in leadership roles for most of my career. There's no exact one way. Okay. We can all learn from it, but lead in a way that, like for me, I lead with positivity. That's kind of my thing. And that's how I kind of lead. You might lead in another way. You might have great organizational skills, or maybe you're great with technology, or maybe you're great with lesson planning. You can be great at a lot of things. And that is how we lead. It doesn't have to be sitting in an office. It can be, but it doesn't have to be. There's so many different ways we can lead by example. So please take a chance. Take a chance. It's going to work for you. Sometimes it's going to work. Sometimes it's not. It's not going to be perfect. I mean, I've had leadership roles that haven't worked, and I've had leadership roles that have been great. But if you keep coming back at it and keep trying and keep defining who you are, it will really make a difference. So again, thank you for all the comments in there. I love it. Keep them up. Okay, here we go. This is the letters never end. So here we go. Another chat box. Ready? How many of you have coached, are coaching, or want to coach? Put it in there. Just have coached, want to coach, or coaching. And I'll put my hand up. I am a coach. So have coached, want to coach, or coaching. So just throw them in. I know there's going to be a lot. I know there's going to be a lot. We got like 30 some people here. There's going to be a lot of people who that's going to, I see them. I see the numbers coming in. What do we got here, Head? I can't hear you.
Oh, my bad. I said a lot of them have want to coach or have coached.
Okay. So here you go. Okay. Awesome. We've got 49 comments. That's great. So here you go, everybody. So when I went to the high school, I was about 29 when I started teaching at the high school level. And I was coaching ninth grade football. I was coaching wrestling, and I was coaching track. That was my first year. Okay. About 2 years later, I got the head cross country position at the school, and I was coaching girls cross country and track. And I'm telling you stuff that's honest and truthful, and maybe hopefully it will resonate with you. I am super competitive, super competitive. I hate I hated to lose. So I would always do letters to students, like to the team. So if we had a meet, I would type a letter. And if we had a really good practice, I would type a letter. And guess what? The letters were never the letters were never done at school. I would always do them at home. And was it great? Yeah, it was great because we got really good, and the kids loved it. But this is something, this is not just coaching related. This is teaching related too. You'll see as I follow up with it. You see, it says, but at what cost? Truthfully, I missed some of my kids. I have two kids. I missed some of my kids growing up. Missed my daughter and son growing when they were young. I missed a lot of time with my wife just because I spent my work-life balance, and that's kind of the next thing. My work-life balance was really, really off. It's gotten much better. It's still difficult for me because I still have that in me. I still love my job, but it was tough. It is, please read what I'm saying because it is really important. Working hard, it's great. It feels good. Like we feel like we're making a difference. It's rewarding. And it should be. But please, please, please balance the work with your life. Please. I'm guessing there's people here, probably have a decent amount of young people here. I am saying to you that maybe you're not married yet, maybe you're still single. It's easy. Like when you're single, you can dedicate so much of that time, but as your life progresses, please do yourself a favor. Please balance your life out. Like for me now, again, I have 36 plus years in. I'm not going to say that I never bring stuff home, but it's rare. When I leave school, I try to leave. Hear this, please. When I leave school at school. When I leave my house, I leave my house at my house. I don't bring my house to work, and I don't bring my school to my house. I'll say it again because it's really important. I don't bring my house to my school, and I don't bring my school to my house. It doesn't mean that I'm never talking about it. My wife will ask me, how's my day? And my day was great, but I don't get into incredible details because you got to have that balance. It's so vital to have that. So I know there are some veterans here, and if that is applying to you, feel free to chime in, feel free to add something because I think that is really, really critical. And honestly, I still struggle with it. I'm not perfect. It's not easy for me because I really do still really love my job. And I am coaching. I'm a coach now. I do strength and conditioning for a football team, and I love it. It's great, but I got to balance it. Okay, I forgot that I put this one here. This is great. Okay, about 4 years ago, I'm teaching a class, a health class. So there's two promises that I make to students when I start the school year. Okay, I should ask you to make a promise, but if you want to, you can. I just kind of thought that off the top of my head. You don't have to, but if you can, that's great. I make two promises in the beginning of the school year to every class, and they are the following. I promise to always listen, and I promise to always come in positive. So those are my two promises. I've done that for a long time. So that's kind of my thing. And if you have a promise, feel free to throw it in there. And if you do, great. If you don't, it's okay. So teaching this health class, and it's the middle of the semester. So in the middle of the semester, I was always do a reflection letter and ask kids, what do you like? Like, tell me about the class. Like, what are you liking? What don't you like? What can you do better? And what can I do better? So you'll see the reflection later, but what can I do better? What can you do better? How are you enjoying things? So there's a girl who's sitting in the back of the class. She's from another country. So she puts her hand up and she goes, Mr. Shapiro, I don't like this class. You're too positive. Everybody turned around and looked at her, and she was just kind of like standing. And I was like, it's okay. It's okay. I am. Hey, listen, you know what? I'm sorry. I'm too positive for you. I don't mean to make you feel bad about it. But I also realized that you're never going to please everybody. You're never going to please every kid. It's impossible. It's impossible to do that. Take the good. Okay. There's always going to be a student, a colleague, a parent who you are not going to connect with. Always. You are never, ever, ever going to connect with everybody all of the time. It's impossible. There's just too many personalities. And initially, when she said this to me, I remember going into my office with the guys I teach with, and I'm like, guys, do you believe this? I had a girl just say to me, you're too positive. And they were like, you are too positive. It was my colleagues. But it was funny because, initially it hurt my feelings a little bit. Like, well, you should be happy I'm positive. But for her, for whatever reason, that just wasn't her thing. So please do not take it personally. Don't take it personally. It can be hard. Listen, we all want to make a difference. Don't take it personally, because there's going to be things that you like, things you don't like. There's going to be kids that you try to connect with and don't. I'm dealing with that right now. There's a student in my class. I have tried so hard to connect with him. And literally today, I had to write him up for leaving my class. I'm trying really hard. It's just not working. I'm not taking it personally. It is what it is. And that's really, really important. Okay. So when I first started teaching at the high school, this is what's your style. When I first started teaching at the high school, I had an amazing mentor. Super fit, older guy, love fitness, super positive, dedicated. We had an amazing time teaching. He's still a good friend of mine today, and that's 28 years later. But as much as we had in common, my style was different than his style. Okay. So you think about your own style of teaching, and I'd like you to do this for me. Okay. In the chat box, write one word that describes the kind of teacher you are or your style. So my style is energetic. So type one word in the chat box that is your style. Okay. And if you're not teaching yet and you're going to be teaching, think about what you think it might be. Okay. And I'll give you a couple seconds and we'll see what responses we get. So think about one word that is your style. So I see people coming in right now. One word. And then I'll have Heather tell me what they are. So keep going. Our goal is to get to, let's say 60 to 65. Okay. So we got right. 57. Go ahead. You can go on.
Passionate, energetic, consistent, encouraging, inclusive, adaptable, understanding. That's what we have so far.
Oh my God. Whoever said passionate. Woohoo! I love the passionate piece. That is great. Whoever said inclusive. Yes, that is one of the best parts about our job. We got 60. Come on, 5 more people.
Encourager is the one that just came in.
What was it? Encourager?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. So let's see if we can get 5 more. I got 60. If anybody else want to chime in, 5 more comments if we can get them. If we can't, it's okay. Don't worry about it. So think about what your style is. I just saw one.
Inclusive.
Yep.
Again.
So again, that inclusive piece, that's part of our jobs. Like that's kind of who we are as people.
Positive.
Yep. Thank you for the positive. There you go. I love it. So know what your style is. Okay. Sometimes you don't know it. You figure it out.
Got student-centered.
Yeah. So again, that's something like we hear that in college. Well, we did hear it in college, but we should all be student-centered. It is about our students. 64. Who's that one company?
Fun.
Fun. Come on, one more. Who's going to be the one more person? We get to 65, I move on. I'm going to move on anyway, but anybody? One more? Yes, no? Okay, I'm moving on. Oh, there we go.
Enthusiastic. We got it.
Yeah, whoever said enthusiastic, thank you for comment 65. Here we go. Oh, okay, here we go. Shap, can we have an extension? I believe there's one more tip after this, maybe two. Okay. So this is really tough for me. I will say it right now. I got 36 plus years in teaching. I struggle with how strict I am. So I'm not strict. Whatever that means, I don't even like that word, but I'm not strict. We want students to be successful. Okay, we want that. But this, I hope, resonates with you. Remember I said I'm not strict? I'm not. But I have incredibly high expectations. They're not the same thing. Strict is not high expectations. Strict is strict. When I say if you don't stand by your principles, students will never know what you stand for. Okay, here you go. I stand for saying thank you when somebody is holding a door. I stand for saying good morning. I stand for shaking somebody's hand. I stand for giving praise when it's due. I also stand for something that if somebody's lazy, I don't say good job being lazy. Think about what you stand for. What are your core values as a teacher? Like that's so critical as you are either in the field or entering the field. What do you stand for? And I told you what I stand for. And if anybody wants to chime in, like, feel free to put something in. Like, if somebody said to you, what do you stand for? What would you say? And I'll give you a couple seconds to think about it. So think about the question. What do you stand for? I told you I stand for high expectations, handshakes, thank yous. What do you stand for? I know that's kind of a difficult question, but do your best with it. I'll give you like 30 seconds. And if nobody chimes in, it's okay. I know that's a kind of a toughie. So I see a couple people.
Yep,
Got a couple.
Mutual respect, honesty, everyone trying their best, respect. Ooh, they're flying in now. Fairness, positivity, and respect and kindness for all students, communication, integrity, balance, fun, staying true to yourself, giving it all, even if it is hard or you are failing, respect and empathy, care for others.
Wow. Oh my God. We got everybody, ladies, gents, we have 79 comments tonight so far. 79. That is crazy. Kudos to you. I want to touch on something that I heard Heather say a lot about respect. Okay. That is another core principle that I stand by. And I think we all need to do that. That's part of like our jobs as health and physical education teachers is teaching about respect, mutual respect. And I don't know who said it, but Heather just said something, doing my best or something when it's not easy. I think that was kind of one of the comments. I know I kind of have the wording wrong, but I know somebody said something like that. And that is whoever said that, kudos to you, because that is kind of something I said earlier. It's like the curveballs. Things are not all going to be easy. So doing something like that, whoever said it, keep up the good work. I love that you mentioned that. Okay, here we go. I think I might have one more, two more. Oh, okay. So this is more of an actual teaching tip. Okay. I think it'll be very helpful. It's called the hair pulling of everything. No matter what you say, no matter what you do, not everything you teach is equally important. Okay. If you disagree, feel free to chime in. Feel free. You could say, Shap, you're wrong. Okay. We'll never take offense to that. The fact is that in our field, we are pressured to teach everything all of the time. I got to teach this for 10 minutes. I got to teach that for 10 minutes. I have to teach this. So I teach mostly strength training, but I also teach health. And we teach about 8 units. I don't spend the same amount of time on every unit because not every unit is equally as important as every other unit. And I won't get into the units, but that is just, if I had to teach every unit exactly the same with the same amount of time, That's just not how it works. Some things are more important than other things. So please do not feel pressure to teach everything exactly the same in the same amount of time, the same wording. It doesn't work like that. That takes away your ability to be flexible, to know that not everything is equal. There are going to be some things that are really important. And I'll give you just a simple example. I teach a ton of strength training. It is much more important for me to teach somebody how to deadlift than it is for me to teach them how to do a bicep curl. I'm going to spend way more time teaching a deadlift and a squat than I am going to be teaching a bicep curl. They're not equal. So even if that's not you, there's going to be a variety of things. Don't get stuck on one thing. Okay. Give yourself a little bit of grace. I believe this is my last one, and then there's a few little tips at the end. So here it is. A long career. Reflect on your practice. Okay. There's not much talked about it. It's in my book, which you'll see, but I can tell you there's not much talked about it. Please reflect on your practice daily, weekly, as often as possible. Think about all the stuff you put in the chat box tonight. Spend some time looking in the mirror and having students do the same thing. Have them reflect on what they're doing, and you reflect on what you're doing. Think about your day today if you taught. I have one last comment for you. Hopefully, well, I know what time is short, but one last comment. I'd like you to, if you taught today, tell me one good thing that happened today. One good thing that happened today. And if you didn't teach, then you could just tell me one good thing that happened anyway. So one good thing that happened today. Okay, we got 84.
Okay, so one of my students achieved a goal that they had been working on.
There you go. Simple stuff. I love it. Anybody else want to chime in? 85. I see it coming in.
Got to play football with my fourth graders at recess.
Yeah, elementary school teacher. There you go.
Bought my son his first T-ball glove.
Yes, and that's a personal thing. There you go. Thank you for sharing that. Anybody else want to chime in? Okay, so you got the idea of the reflection piece, okay? So here we go. Okay, here's our last set of tips. Okay, so first of all, you can see it. You ladies and guys, you're awesome. Okay, I appreciate you being here. You'll see the final slide in a second. And then if you have any questions or comments, I'll take them. My last set of tips, they are really, really simple but important. Please greet your kids at the door. So if you're on the computer, get off the computer. Greet your kids at the door. Say hi to your kids. Avoid the 5 minutes, got to do this. So what that means is that's that kind of rush. I got 5 minutes to do this and that's it. You don't want to be strung by the time. Okay. Keep kids guessing. Ask kids questions all the time. Sometimes they'll look at you like a deer in the headlights, but it really keeps the class engaged and it's great for learning. Admit you're not perfect. I always tell kids if I make a mistake with a grade or something that I'm sorry, I'll fix it. So we're teachers, we're human beings, we're not going to be perfect. I know you're doing this already. Please laugh with your students. Like kids will love it when you laugh with them. The team over I, that simply means that you're part of a school. Even if you are the only health and physical education teacher in your school, make sure you get involved as a team. And it leads to the next thing, which is just connect with your colleagues. Like, please connect with your colleagues. Please don't sit in your room by yourself. Don't be in a negative lunchroom. Don't be in a negative lunch. We don't want that. But you really want to sit there and connect with your colleagues. And then the last one is speak over silence. And that just simply means if you have something to say that's going to make your class, your school, your job better, say it. Because there's probably other people that are thinking the same thing as you. Okay. Here's my last slide. So I believe this is my last one. Yep. I hope you learned something today. There is my email address. I also have a podcast on YouTube. It's called Cutting the Crap with Shap. Please, if you subscribe, I'd really appreciate that. I'm also an author. My book is in the picture there. It's called Dream Big: Stories and Strategies for a Successful Classroom. It's been pretty highly received, which I'm really proud of. But again, I really appreciate the amazing response tonight. We had, I'm not sure how many comments, but I believe it was not 90 comments. That is incredible. So for all the people that hopped in the chat, I appreciate this. Does anybody want to chime in? We have a couple minutes. Do we go to 8 heads?
Yeah.
So we got about 5 minutes. If anybody wants to chime in and unmute and say anything, please feel take a risk. Do it. Put yourself out there. Or put something in the chat box. So if you feel like you got something out of today, or if you felt like it was important or something resonated with you, just say it.
Hi, Craig. My name's Lisa. I really resonated with your message about always being positive. Sometimes I find too, like as health and PE teachers, there's 2 of us in my building, and I feel like sometimes it can be draining because you are the positive train, right? And like there's only like so much sometimes that you can give. And I think sometimes reminding ourselves that, we are the positive, and to speak up when we see the negative, or to kind of shut down or, mitigate those conversations, just like you talked about in your story, I think is so important. And it kind of gives you a little reset on the things that you're doing, and the positivity is making an impact.
So Lisa, are you the positive one?
Yes, I would say we are. Like my coworker and myself, we get along really well, and we're like the fun train in the school. But sometimes it can be draining because as much as you're trying to stay positive, you still come across those conversations. And sometimes you're like, is this even helping?
Lisa, what grade do you teach?
I am elementary, but I am K1 and 2, so I have the little ones.
Do your kids love you?
I think so. They come in.
So they do love you.
Yeah. I get a lot of hugs.
They do love you, right?
I get a lot of hugs.
Right, exactly. Exactly. So that's where you focus on.
Yeah.
You spend time focusing on that, because if you're worrying about the other people, you're going to drive yourself totally bananas. Keep being your positive self. And sometimes if there is negativity around you, just walk away from it. Not easy. Not easy. I mean, I know you're a young teacher because I could see it, but just keep doing your positive stuff. The kids will love you, and you're there for the kids anyway. The other stuff is just way too toxic, and sometimes it's draining. I got you. I've been living that for a long time. Just get away from it as much as you can. And thank you for being here too.
Will do. I appreciate it. Thank you. It was a great presentation.
Of course.
Craig, we have a question in the chat.
Sure.
The question is, what are some strategies or advice on how to not take it personally when you can't please someone, like a student, parent, etc., no matter what?
Okay. So my suggestion on that is something, and it's not always easy to do, but who's ever asking that question, I would say just take a step back. Step back for a second and think, are you trying to make a difference? Are you trying to make a difference in somebody's life? And of course, the answer, who's ever asking that, the answer is, of course, yes, you are. So by doing that, that's enough. If you think you need to do more than that, you don't, because there's so many outside variables. Without me going off on a tangent here, you don't know what's going on in that student, that parent, that other teacher's life. Maybe they got something going on at home that you have no control over, and you're just that sounding board. So I would say to keep thinking about the difference you're trying to make. Is it always going to work? Of course not, but it will help.
I think to piggyback off of that too, a lot of times the parents only hear the student side of it.
Of course.
And they don't hear, and they take their child's side. And so if they come after you and they don't hear it. But a lot of times in my experience, when you talk to the parents calmly and you explain to them, like, this is what happened, they get to be more appreciative of what you're saying.
100%. And again, there's to who's ever on, just I'll kind of say again, like I know the time's coming to a close soon, but there's never going to be something perfect. Like you're not going to be able to do everything right. That's kind of what I said about not being, you're not going to be perfect. There's going to be stuff that happens, and try not to let that like ruminate. Like, listen, I have a lot of years teaching, and I know I'm not the perfect teacher. I make plenty of mistakes, but I also try to think about the good things I do. So focus more on the difference you're making than on maybe something that isn't perfect. And of course, if you're making a mistake, don't keep making it. If something doesn't work, do a little reflection and figure that out. And maybe you could do something different later on.
Somebody also gave the advice of they use the words "help me understand" in some of the situations with students and parents.
Yes. So I'm sure most of you here have heard the statement, like, I hear you saying. Like, that's a very common thing. Like, I hear you saying this, or I feel this. If you do something like that, it kind of diffuses the situation. And again, it's not always going to be perfect. There's always going to be those things that kind of stop it. But if you take a deep breath and step back, it can really, really help a lot. That's just my suggestion. And Heather obviously chimed in. There's not going to be exact things there. It's going to vary. Anybody else have a comment, question? You want to chime in? I'll stay on for a couple minutes if you need me to. If you want to like unmute and chime in or something like that, whatever you would like to do.
All right, I think that might be it. So,
Okay, good.
Yeah, thank you everybody for coming tonight. Oh, we have be proactive with your communication to parents and be consistent with the students.
Yes. The proactive piece is huge. That is so important. Don't wait for something to happen. Like hit it right away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so thank you for coming and joining tonight. I hope you all take the positivity in these tips and apply it to, the rest of your school year. Like Craig said, this is a very, very difficult time right now. Just trying to get through. It's a big stretch. So hopefully you can take some of these tips and use them and to help you thrive for the rest of the school year. And I hope everybody has a great night.
Yeah, everybody, thank you so much. Awesome time tonight. My contact information is below. Please feel free to send me an email. If you have a comment, you need help with something, I'm here. Whatever you need, just reach out.